Hello, everyone, and welcome to our Tuesday podcast with Tom Christopher, founder and CEO of the Christopher Group. Today we're talking about moving up the HR ladder. Tom, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you, Laura. It's, again, an honor to speak with you on our weekly podcast.
As the founder of the largest search boutique, what are you seeing as trends within the HR community as professionals move up the HR ladder?
Yeah, it's a great question. We get to ask this a lot. You know, I'm a young or mid-career HR professional. I want to move up, Tom. What are the trends? What are you seeing? And we are seeing some very definitive trends. Number one, it's about diversity of development. So if you're in a field job in a corporation, get to the headquarters. Get the strategic perspective. Learn how functional COEs interact with one another. If you're in headquarters, get to the field. Get close to the customer. Get closer to the manufacturing base. If applicable, get closer to where things are happening on a day-to-day basis. If you're a generalist, it behooves you to get rotational development in compensation and benefits, talent management, MDOD, or TA. In other words, the specialist rotations. And more demand is being placed on us that when we do senior HR executive searches, they want to see people that have had diverse development paths. They've done headquarter rotations, they've done field rotations, they've done generalist jobs, they've done specialist jobs, they've done U.S.-centric jobs, they've done international jobs, even if they're based here, but they supported international client groups. You need at least 2 years in each rotation to be considered credible or to get the weight or respect in the eyes of a future employer. Finally, hopping is definitely on the passe out. Clients do not want to see 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, and then a hop. They want to see 5 to 8 years with one organization, 2, 3 promotions or progressions, good solid development, and a strong commitment and performance record. This is a pretty big change from 10, 15 years ago where, you know, it was expected that you'd rotate. Average HR person was changing jobs or companies every 3.5 years. And we're seeing more companies shying away from those types of candidates and very, very much wanting somebody who plants roots and stays for 5 to 8 years. Equally, don't stay past about 15. If you stay too long, then you get branded 2 ways. One is you're so industry specific, can they learn a different industry? And then companies get very concerned about your ability to assimilate into a new environment and a new company, a new culture, because you've been at one place so very long. So the window is kind of 4 to 7 years up to about 15 years. So that's kind of how we're seeing that play out.
What advice to our HR listeners on the best practices to ascend and reach their career objectives?
Yeah, so I'd build upon the answer to the first question on trends, and then I'd go one step further. And I think you heard Dr. Pete Leddy talk about this. The people that are really ascending quickly and well are people who take a very developmental approach to their career. They're not looking for today's job or tomorrow's promotion. Everything's about growth, development, and expansion. It's, I'm in this for a long haul. This is a marathon, not a sprint. And I want to get into this job, and I'm going to measure my success based on how much I learn, how I grow, how I develop, and how I expand, versus how many wins I put on the board and what the scoreboard says. And those things are important, but development is far more important. Also, that suggests a humility. You can't be arrogant. As one IO psychologist I follow says, ego is the greatest barrier to learning. Humility is its foundation. You must be self-aware. You must be situationally aware. You must be able to take negative and constructive feedback and look the person in the eye and say, thank you. That is incredibly powerful. Let me apply it and be better and stronger for it. That mindset, that shift, very different than what it was 20, 30 years ago, 10 years ago, is the core secret recipe to moving up, not just quickly, but solidly. So as you ascend, you get a higher level job and you can keep it because you properly developed yourself. Also, another trend is stay in position long enough. Don't broil, bake, or in barbecue terms, low and slow. Don't be in a hurry to get out of a job too quickly that you haven't gotten all the learnings and all the lessons. Particularly the less desirable jobs, sometimes in the less desirable locations that others wouldn't go to. Spend 2 years, 3 years, 4 years in it versus trying to get in and out in 12 to 24 months. You'll learn more. You'll have more perspective. You'll have more humility. And as you move up, you'll not only get the bigger jobs, you'll keep them.
And conversely, what are you hearing from executives about talent that have fallen off the HR ladder? How does this happen, and how do they avoid it?
It is a fabulous question. It's the most common question I think I get asked in a week. And I would tell you the single greatest issue that HR professionals experience when they climb the ladder is lack of depth of experience. It gets back to my point. Oftentimes, because the market's so good and they're pulling people up before they're ready, or HR professionals know how to interview and know how to say the right things, they get promoted very, very quickly. And in doing so, they oftentimes promote either past their capability or they haven't gotten all the years and all the breadth and depth that a rotation will give you from an experience perspective. So they spend 18 months in a job versus spending 36. Then they do it again and again and again. And when they get into a job where they're really in a high visibility position and big things are coming at them, they don't have the number of years to draw upon, the number of experiences to draw upon to know how to tackle it effectively. They derail and they fail. So again, take the time to bake in the oven versus broil. Broil means warm in the outside, cold in the inside. Bake means warm inside and out. Metaphorically, spend 2 to 4 years in every rotation. Get a full, healthy breadth and depth of that experience and bring that forward. That is the number one derailer and number one enabler of ascending to higher level positions. It's easy to get promoted. It's easy to get a big HR job, relatively speaking. The trick is, how do you keep it? And how do you be successful?
And finally, how does TCG help ambitious leaders climb that HR ladder?
Well, it's a great question. As you know, we were very honored to be listed to the Forbes top 200 executive search firms in the United States last year, and we were the only HR boutique in the United States that made the top 200 list. And that was a survey by the top 18,000 clients and candidates who named us, which was really a tremendous honor. We train our people. We encourage our people. We incent and pay our people to be advocates and coaches, not just to our clients, but to our candidates, to build relationships, to add value, to coach, guide, and counsel them on each of their career movements, and within their movements, how to get the most out of them. We also encourage and pay our people to establish relationships for life with our candidates. And finally, we have a saying at Christopher Group, and it's in our value statement, nothing sells better than goodness. Treat people the way you want to be treated, candidates, clients, vendors, your family, your colleagues. Because in this era where people don't, boy, there's nothing more valuable than a company that sells goodness. And it's really about how do we coach, develop, and guide our HR candidates so they can optimize their career opportunities and potential. We don't charge for it. We're paid by our clients. But we know today's candidate is tomorrow's client. So if you're getting this podcast and you're out there and you're thinking about your next career move, or if you're thinking about how can I optimize my career trajectory and development in my current company or current role, call a member of my team, and they will be honored to spend time with you, helping you map that and giving you invaluable advice. I'll close with a very fun story. I have a candidate that I started working with who was an HR manager back in 2001, and I've been very close with this candidate ever since. That candidate now is a CHRO of a $5 billion company making almost $2 million a year. And when I started working with them, they were making, I think, $75,000 a year on a simple HR manager. And every step along the way, we coached, we guided, we supported, and even he would say, I felt badly at times because I was getting such good advice. I wrote it all down. I still have it, and you never even charged me. And of course, that person's come back and used us for a variety of searches and is a great client now. That's the kind of service we provide. Those are the kind of relationships we build at the Christopher Group.
Well, Tom, as always, thank you so much for being here today, and I look forward to next week's discussion.
Sounds great, Laura. Have a great day. Be safe. Happy Memorial Day to all my listeners. God bless.